In just 2 weeks, Mission Australia's Work for the Dole participants have rescued the velodrome from dilapidation. Its revival was proved today with 2 members of the Netherlands Paralympic team taking to the track, along with Hunter Academy of Sports cyclists. And while the track is now usable, its aesthetics still need some work.
No, this is the first time I was riding on graffiti, but it doesn't matter. It looks it's a good ambience, but I think it's an old track, and they're working on it now, and it's going to be a good track, I think, next year when we come back.
Herco's partner Yun is sight impaired and prefers training in Newcastle over Sydney.
Here in Newcastle is much better than in Sydney. In Sydney it was very dangerous to be on the bike in the traffic.
The Hunters Olympic Task Force says more teams are likely to utilise local facilities before the Olympics.
We've only had 2 countries with the cyclists, but in the last 5 weeks we've had inquiries from 7 countries wanting to come here to train in the Hunter.
Paul Lobb, NBN News.
The part of God in this with a very short dedicatory prayer, not only in terms of the garden and the work, but all this rock and with it the plaque.
The event got underway in typically spectacular fashion late last night at the Langley Park Special Stage in Perth. Scottish driver Colin McRae set the pace to become the overnight leader, while Aussie driver Michael Guest had some worries and finished 29th.
Because we run such a low fuel level, we had a little bit of trouble with fuel surge with it. Engine cut out about 4 times, which wasn't so good, but otherwise, no, it's good. Good start, great stage to get through, and look forward to getting into it today.
And that's exactly what he did early on, moving up to 19th overall and 5th in his class in this morning's stages. But unfortunately, Guest crashed out of the rally late this afternoon. While Carlos Sainz was spectacular, teammate Didier Auriol was slick, taking the overall lead early in the day. It didn't last, the Frenchman later dropping out due to engine problems, with championship rival Tommy Mäkinen moving into the lead and pole position for the title. Rally Australia continues tonight and finishes on Sunday. Colin Baldwin, NBN News. After 14 minutes of end-to-end football, it was the visitors who found the breakthrough, Sean Babbage scoring a soft goal. The Breakers went all out to equalise, with Vasco Tripchevsky brutally denied by the woodwork. Despite such efforts, Marconi led 1-0 at half-time and stayed that way until some fancy footwork by John Bonavolia. 3 minutes later, Travis Dodd brought the house down. Unfortunately, the Breakers' lead was just as short, Marconi equalising from a corner. 2-2 and the game looked set to go the Breakers' way when striker Andy Harper was brought down, captain Shane Price needing this penalty shot to put Newcastle in front. With 7 minutes left, Danny Invincible made Marconi unstoppable and handed the Breakers their second straight loss. Colin Baldwin, NBN News.
These units in Mickle Way were earmarked for demolition 5 months ago, but it seems someone was tired of waiting. Instead of a jackhammer, they took a match to the apartment at around 9 o'clock last night.
By the time we got here, the flames were coming out of the roof and it was pretty drastic looking.
Residents say the empty units attract drug users and they're fighting to have the block knocked down. It's been 5 months since the Department of Housing promised to demolish these units. It's blaming a lengthy tendering process on the hold-up. In the meantime, Mickle Way residents have had to put up with an eyesore, which they say is a haven for drug users.
When it got burnt, it was a real shoot-up joint. It was the security guard used to come and say, oh, I went in number 1 and cleaned out and got another 40 or 50 syringes out of it.
Demolition work on another block of units in the estate is finally getting underway, but no sign of work yet on these houses. In the meantime, residents live with death threats and abuse, enduring the second deliberately lit fire at the estate since March. Locals say they have a fair idea of who's behind the attacks, but no one wants to talk publicly.
Amnesia, you know, handy thing. If you don't want to know anything, if you don't want payback. But everyone's scared to open their mouth, which is a shame.
Vanessa Spark, NBN News.
After months of negotiation and industrial action, academics voted to accept a new enterprise agreement at a union meeting today, and they also resolved to drop work bans on things like the processing of student results.
Delighted about that. No one's happy about imposing bans on student results, but those bans lift today and we go back into talks.
On the agenda, a number of issues regarding the new agreement, such as workload, unsatisfactory performance and change management plans. And while the academics are prepared to resume industrial action, Wayne Reynolds believes the main issue is over.
I'm hopeful that we're there now. It's really a question of drafting and tidying up the document. I go into the talks with that assumption.
The Tertiary Education Union will meet with the University Administration on Tuesday morning. Colin Baldwin, NBN News.
"11-year-old Michael and 15-year-old Jackie no longer go to school. Life became so unbearable, they now study at home with mum Jenny.
We're just sort of beside ourselves as a family. We just don't know which way to turn.
Paxton Public School looks like any other, that is, unless you're a student there.
Heckling and mocking and just being annoying.
The Brown family claims that Michael was victimised and bullied, not just by students but by teachers as well, one day taking a comment by a staff member literally.
If you give yourself enough line of rope, you'll hang yourself with it. I said, fine, I'll go and do that.
3 other families have also removed their children from the school this year, and Cessnock Police are now investigating a series of complaints. There's no fewer than 5 apprehended violence orders in place between parents, teachers and students at the school. An 11-year-old boy will soon face court charged with assaulting a teacher and a classmate. But despite these problems, the Department of School Education refused to speak to us on camera today, and parents like Jenny say the department simply isn't doing enough.
I think it's absolutely disgraceful that any child at school wants to terminate his life. But what's more disgraceful is that the Education Department have offered us no, and I repeat, no assistance in getting to the bottom of it.
Paul Lobb, NBN News.
wonderful fluctuating game of cricket.
There we go. Well.
And so...
James Niddies might be only 17, but he's already got some impressive results to his credit. A winner at the Jack Newton Age Tournament and runner-up in the South Australian Junior Masters and State Championships, all after only taking up the game 4 years ago when his father gave him his old set of clubs.
I was a bit rusty, but you know, I had to go a couple of social games and that got me really interested in the sport.
Now the Year 11 student has won the Renee Appleby Memorial Award, given to a junior golfer with outstanding qualities both on and off the course. It means James will spend a day with Stuart Appleby at the Australian Open, followed by a week of learning from him in Florida.
That'll be great. Hope he doesn't get sick of me.
This morning, though, James was practicing for December's Greg Norman Junior Masters, where he's hoping to break a string of second places in major tournaments.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to hit some decent shots and come away with the win.
Colin Baldwin, NBN News. The covers are off and Gancia Guy is ready to race in tomorrow night's big event at the Newcastle Paceway. Both the 6-year-old and his trainer-driver Mark Callaghan are champing at the bit to improve on a great run in the same race last year.
We ran second to a horse called House of Ancelot, probably the best horse Australia's seen in the last decade. So there's no House of Ancelot in the race tomorrow night, even though it's probably overall a better quality field.
Recently named the NBN Newcastle Horse of the Year, Gancia Guy has had 23 wins in his time, and victory in the mile would earn him a place in local harness history. There's plenty of high-profile rivals from interstate trying to do the same thing, but Mark's hoping for a Hunter whitewash.
It's a dream of mine to win this particular race, so hopefully we can get there tomorrow night.
Whether it's running, swimming or paddling that appeals to coastal enthusiasts, they need to master them all to become successful Ironmen or women.
If they excel, the sponsors and the people that organise the Uncle Toby's, the Kellogg's series, they're really looking for these type of kids.
Today's event is called the Seniors Carnival and brings together hopefuls from as young as 16. And the Big Swell gave all ages a trying time, no matter what event they competed in.
A competition like this, especially when we're running them once every fortnight, once every 3 weeks, is really honing their skills, which is what they want to do.
Although it's reassuring to know that the future lifeguards are honing their skills now, not all of them enter for the competition.
We try and promote a fun day for these guys. We want them to enjoy surf lifesaving. We want them to stick around with surf lifesaving. Once they've honed these skills, we want them patrolling Central Coast beaches.
Adam Harper, NBN News. The event gets bigger every year, and this time round was no exception.
This is massive. It's bigger than what we expected, but it sort of goes to show the support the care flight sort of generates throughout the community, so it's great.
And with 250 surfers taking part in the day, as well as some sideline entertainment, the event looks set to raise an equally large cheque.
We're up around 10,000 so far this year, so we raised 15,000 in 3 years, so we're well above our target this year.
The surf even played its part in making this the biggest event of the year on the coast's surfing calendar, delivering a large swell. But the expert competitors were more than up to the challenge.
The fields are that crack hot, you wouldn't be able to predict anybody until probably the finals, and then you wouldn't even be able to predict it till then.
Today was an elimination round, a culling of numbers for tomorrow's finals. And with $10,000 in total prize money available, there will be no shortage of spectacular surfing. Adam Harper, NBN News.
Stevenson Place is often used as a shortcut from the foreshore park through to Newcastle Beach, but it seems not everyone just passes through. Around a dozen residents woke up this morning to find their car windows smashed and valuables stolen.
You get a window broken and you're going to have to pay for it. If you take it on insurance, you lose your no-claim bonus, so it costs you either way. There's no way out of that.
The vandals shattered side windows at random, stealing money and tapes. The second attack in less than a month.
Seems to come in waves. It doesn't happen every night, but it happens at weekends when you've got people drinking down on the foreshore.
Police are warning car owners to hide their valuables.
Because thieves are about, they're preying on darkly lit areas, and they're taking valuables out of cars.
Meanwhile, sirens and action down at the police station. Hundreds taking advantage of an open day in Newcastle, the largest country station in the state. Visitors could meet a police tracker dog or test the suspension in a paddy wagon.
A lot of people know police now, so it's not that mystique anymore. I think it's just to have a look behind the scenes, what goes on.
Tours of the weapons training unit were also included, focusing on the concrete pistol range used for police training. Vanessa Spark, NBN News. They were meant to stamp out trouble, but instead, according to retailers, they're causing it. 3 months after these security cameras were installed, traders are still complaining of antisocial behaviour and drug activity in the mall.
It's perceived as a no-go area. We can't tolerate that. We must clean that up.
A 3-month assessment of the devices by Lake Macquarie Council shows the $18,000 cameras have not been as effective as they'd hoped.
Video cameras expenditure was total waste of money. All it has picked up is a couple of incidents of vandalism, minor incidents really.
Some believe the problem lies with the monitoring system.
I don't think they've been a waste of money. I mean, you only get what you pay for. Probably the best and most effective video surveillance is where it is constantly monitored. This is not the case here.
Whatever the case, the cameras are not doing the job, and council wants the police to step in. But police say the problem in the mall is more antisocial than criminal.
The installation of the surveillance cameras certainly haven't increased my thoughts on that. Hasn't been any matters referred to the police as a result of those surveillance cameras.
Nevertheless, council is planning a think tank inviting the region's police commanders to offer their support. Vanessa Spark, NBN News.
Newcastle was awarded the 2001 Masters Games in January this year. Today, organisers signed a host agreement, beginning a 22-month countdown for the largest sporting event ever to be staged in the Lower Hunter.
We're talking about more competitors than the Commonwealth Games and a lot of visitors to the region. It'll be great for Newcastle.
The Games, to be held in October of 2001, will attract 13,000 athletes to the city, participating in more than 50 sports at 70 venues. Organisers of this year's Adelaide Australian Masters Games were on hand at today's signing, boasting success.
The participants enjoyed it, certainly the retail sector enjoyed it, the sports enjoyed it, and it was a real boost to the town. Adelaide really buzzed.
Aside from the sport on offer, the Games are also predicted to be a bonanza for our economy, worth an estimated $25 million.
That's a very realistic figure, yeah. And I mean, I've seen it in real terms. I've actually had people I know very well who are retailers, so that's the best week we've had for the last 5 years.
Games organisers are now seeking the cooperation of sporting bodies across the Lower Hunter. Blake Doyle, NBN News.